This star filled our hearts with delight. Its consolation predicted the king's birth of unprecedented greatness. So near the heavens, it was surrounded in divine mystery and wonder of force. We followed it in the darkness until our journey brought us to one who is pure light. What we beheld filled us with joy and amazement. My gift? This frankincense is costly, a sacred fragrance used in temple worship by the priest. I laid it at the feet of the Holy Child, and by Bethlehem's light, we worship him. Deep within us, a certainty took root. Here was God. Here was born divine love.
Following that star meant we had to travel at night. We did not know where we'd be led. We only knew that we had to follow. We lost sight of the star, and we had to humbly rely on other star seekers to tell us where to locate the star again. My gift? A rare exotic spice used, I know, for anointing of the dead. An odd gift to give a child, but it is what came to my heart to offer in these dark and troubled times.
Glorious now, behold the Lamb, King and God and sacrifice. Hallelujah, hallelujah, birth to the heavenly light. Oh, star of wonder, star of light, star with royal beauty bright, westwardly still proceeding, guide us to thy perfect light.
We gather now around one of our church doors to symbolically mark it for the new year and ask blessings. All those participating, please come forward. AJ, if he would like, the wardens, and the magi. Peace to this house of worship and to all who live and visit here.
By this the house is built, and through understanding it is established. Through knowledge its rooms are filled with rare and beautiful treasures.
The effect of righteousness is peace, and the result of righteousness, quietness and trust forever. My people will abide in a peaceful habitation, in secure dwellings and quiet places.
Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord has risen upon you.
Lord of heaven and earth, a shining star guided the magi to the birthplace of your Son. Guide us to be your light in the world. Your first earthly home was a stable. Bless our homes and all who have them. Fill them with light and love. And now we will have Grandpa and grandson mark this doorway, and today all the doors, with chalk the symbol 20, C for M and B for the Magi, and 19 for the year. Blessed are you, welcoming God. As your people come and go from this door, be their constant companion on the way, and welcome them upon their return, so that coming and going, they may be sustained by your presence. Bring to this door both friend and stranger, who come in peace, and guard from this door any who come in hostility. May every grudge or malice be left at the door, and may those who brought them be so touched by grace here that they forget to collect them when they leave.
Inviting God, may this church be a place of peace and health, a shelter in the storm, and a haven for rest for all in need of your warmth and care. May this be a place of joy, laughter, and freedom, a place of renewal and refreshment for those who are weary, a place of healing and comfort for those broken and hurt, a place of forgiveness for those who seek a new way of life, and a place of encouragement for those who hunger and thirst for peace and justice.
As we go about our work, our study, our worship and fellowship, keep this sacred home filled with light and love.
May each member of this family, and those who visit and those who stay, cultivate the gifts and graces you have given them, dedicating our talents and works for the good of all.
May St. John's family and all who come to visit, to worship and to serve and receive, remember these things throughout the coming year.
And when we go out from this place, may we never lose sight of the epiphany stars you keep sending us.
Amen. Hallelujah. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Mary, Joseph, led her in, while our hearts in love we raise. Healing shall see day Healing shall see
The Lord be with you. And also with you. The Holy Gospel of our Lord Jesus Christ according to Matthew.
Glory to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
In the time of King Herod, after Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea, wise men from the east came to Jerusalem asking, "Where is the child who has been born King of the Jews? For we observed his star at his rising and have come to pay him homage." When King Herod heard this, he was frightened, and all Jerusalem with him. And calling together all the chief priests and scribes of the people, he inquired of them where the Messiah was to be born. They told him, "In Bethlehem of Judea, for so it has been written by the prophet, and you, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, are by no means least among the rulers of Judah. For from you shall come a ruler who is to shepherd my people, all from Israel." Then Herod secretly called the wise men and learned from them the exact time when the star had appeared. Then he sent them to Bethlehem, saying, "Go and search diligently for the child, and when you have found him, bring me word, so that I may also go and pay homage." When they heard the king, they set out, and there ahead of him went the star that they had seen at its rising, until it stopped over the place where the child was. When they saw the star had stopped, they were overwhelmed with joy. On entering the house, they saw the child with Mary, his mother, and they knelt down and paid him homage. Then, opening their treasure chests, they offered him gold and frankincense and myrrh. And having been warned in a dream not to return to Herod, they left their own country by another road. The Gospel of Christ.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
Most glorious light, enlighten us. Amen. Well, I want to ask a question. Has anyone here been to the Holy Land? To Bethlehem? Oh, I have an idea then. If we at St. John's decide to make a pilgrimage there, let's say perhaps receiving a bequest that legally stipulates these funds can only be used by the people of St. John's to take a trip to the Holy Land. And so we meet the January and the February snow. We would find not a stable, nor even a little cave, as we suspect was where Jesus was born, but a home, which we hear in the reading the Magi entered, on which later was built the ancient Church of the Nativity, dating from the time of the Crusades, erected on the site of the original shrine and Justinian's later chapel. We would get off of our tour bus and be surprised to find one small door. To enter it, not only really tall folk, but all of us would have to bend over single file to clear the low door frame. For in this way, infidels are prevented from riding in on horseback to desecrate the holy place. Inside, we would descend very steep steps, the air heavy with incense, and our eyes fall upon a great 14-point star set in the floor of a small chamber with the words engraved in Latin, "Here, Jesus Christ was born of Virgin Mary." And at midnight to this very day on Christmas Eve, a figure of the child is placed at the center of the star. Millions of pilgrims have journeyed over great miles and a great danger to rest at this site and ponder life, his life, their life, and to remember the journey of the first recorded Christian pilgrims, the Magi. Now, the journey of the Magi reveals some wonderful, beautiful, and terrible truths. Their journey leads them indeed to a king, but we may forget the first king they visit is not the newborn Jesus. Courteous, they visit the monarch of the region, where the star's constellation leads them, not realizing that he was the infamous Herod, whose history books do record murdered 2 of his sons, his wife, his mother-in-law, and others. Upon the Magi's arrival at this palace, every amenity took place. I suppose formal welcome, diplomatic overdue, huge meals, fine drinks, excesses. Finally, when the moment arrived, the Magi posed their innocent question, something like this: "So, where is this newborn king of the Jews? We have read the signs and know of his birth." They rely on Herod for truth, since obviously such an infant would be Herod's next in line. In the Magi's presence, Herod maintained diplomatic balance, temporizing, promising to find an answer, and finally, skillfully ending the meeting for that night. But with his insides in turmoil. Newborn king? No, I'm the king.
My lineage is the only answer to such a usurper. Do something, do something. But what? Seek out your chief priests and scribes. And he does. He charms them with his version of a simple question, an idle interest. Do you experts, busy, studying day and night, do you know anything about the long predicted Messiah figure we used to hope for? If he were born today, I wonder where would his birthplace be? Without hesitation, they reply, in Bethlehem of Judea, where the great King David was born. These experts knew their scriptures well, Herod did not. The newborn Messiah would be David's successor, shepherd of the people, fulfillment of everything the Jewish people had awaited for centuries. Now his Herodian head is swirling. Can you picture it? At last, he forms a plan. Plan is 2 words. Kill him. Herod will tell the Magi the place to look, and they will search out the baby, giving Herod the locale and the kill. He makes his way across the halls and utters approximately the following words. Bethlehem is the place he will be born. Somewhere around Bethlehem. All you have to do is find him. Oh, and of course, let me know so that I may too do him homage. Herod's lust for power has to banish love in favor of control. He has to compete even with God, even with God's Christ. He feels incredibly wise. All this duplicity would not be blatantly clear to the Magi, yet the Magi are wise. They recognize in Herod something that disturbs them. They likely consult in whispers. He is not the point of destination of their long spiritual journey, and they leave Herod in haste to his hate. This time it was the light within them, not in the sky, that guided them to intuitively know this man was dangerous. Wisdom gives us, too, discernment. These great seekers, philosophers from the East, learned ones of ancient wisdom and royal favor, interpreters of dreams, astrologers, and sages, of immense prestige and wealth, cannot be distracted from their past nor trapped by evil designs that would lead them to forfeit their dreams. They find Mary and Joseph and Jesus, who by now is probably almost 2 years old easily. When they see this child, they prostrate themselves, which means that their foreheads, literally in Oriental fashion, touch the ground. They who are wise bow before a new wisdom, a truth that calls them no, compels them to seek and to sacrifice everything in seeking. Over time in history, multitudes will do the same. Over deserts, the Magi came on camels in a caravan perhaps of 3, but possibly, scholars speculate, 77. And that's why some paintings will show a trail of camels. On great beasts who can drink 100 quarts of water at one time, whose long eyelashes keep out the sand and whose nostrils flare and close against the wind. Creatures of God's creation. What can we take today from this beautiful and frightening story for our own journey? And what warnings about what distracts us from the path and wisdom within us, from following the light that guides us from within and above? Well, we are not to be worried that we don't have all wisdom and knowledge and answers. The Magi didn't know all the answers as they journeyed, but what made them and makes us wise is not having all the answers, but knowing how to search and how to look for answers. The Magi were comfortable enough in their own skin to enter into this kind of mystery way of openness. To ponder, for example, I'm sure back home when people came to them, they might ask, where is the justice in this situation? Or in a quarreling situation, how will forgiveness heal this injury? They passed from human calculations to a posture of openness, and it led them to the mystery of God's incarnation in Jesus Christ. So to look in stables and dark skies and see light, a light that beckons, that gives us purpose and focus when we could easily be scattered and unsure, is God's desire for us. We are called to wisdom. to stargazing and star following, and seeing where our extraordinary searching leads us. Ordinary places, extraordinary things happening, because God is in them and with us. The wise ones, the Magi, journey with their gifts, knowing life must always be open to journeys and searches for God, for truth, for health and wellness, healing, and for the divine to be born into the world and into each of us. And at such epiphany times and moments, for gifts to be laid down before God of self and talent and meaning. And so this begs the final leg of my journey in the homily. What still is unfinished in your life? There's a lot that's unfinished in everyone's life. Nothing is ever really finished. Our lives, and I love this quote that I heard once, it seems, are simply interrupted by our dying. Most of us don't complete our lives. We just run out of time. So consciously or unconsciously, we make a bucket list of things we still want to do or finish before we die. What do we still want to do? For the Magi, this journey was such a wish. For us, a number of things probably immediately come to the fore. We want to see our children thrive and grow up, see grandchildren, maybe see their wedding. We want to finish this last work of art or writing or building, or simply love with compassion and generosity. We want to see our 80th, 90th, 100th birthday. We want to reconcile with our family. And beyond these important things, there might be other things on our list that we just haven't had the chance to do or the economically been disadvantaged to do, like walk the Camino, travel to the Holy Land, backpack, enjoy our retirement. But in fantasizing about what's unfinished in our lives, there's a danger of missing out of the richness of what's actually going on in our lives and our real task in the moment. And so the better question is, how do I want to live now so that I am ready to die when it's my time? For the Magi, it wasn't only this amazing journey, it was a quality of life they lived every day. So I'd like to leave you with some reflections from a little book by Spanish author Pablo Dior's. And he found out that he was staring his mortality in the face with a second bout of cancer. And he decides that this is what he wants to do in face of the inalienable fact that he's one day going to die. Here's his bucket list. I have decided to stand up and open my eyes. I have decided to eat and drink in moderation, to sleep as necessary, to write only what contributes toward improving those who read me, to abstain from greed and never compare myself to others. I have also decided to water my plants and care for an animal. I will visit the sick, I will converse with the lonely, and I will not let much time go by before playing with a child. In the same manner, I have decided to recite my prayers every day, to bow several times before the things I consider sacred, and to celebrate the Eucharist, to listen to the Word, and to break bread and share the wine, to give peace and to sing in unison. I will live for those things according to an ethics of attention and care. And this I will take as my blessing. This will be my path. He says, I'm a 2-time cancer survivor, and I know that life is precious, and I will embrace it fully. And in closing, he says, not incidentally, after doing this for over a year, since then I've also begun to water my plants even more vigorously, to care for my cat, and feed as well all the neighborhood birds. I am a modern Magi, and this is a good thing. The light shifts, but God gets me to it. Amen.